Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Hope everyone's having a good day. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all. First, want to thank Rich DeCamp. Thank you for the follow of the channel. Follow between our streams. But today we're going to be starting a new project. So Skyrim's kind of a bit of a ubiquitous name in gaming, it seems. But I always enjoy kind of putting on caveats or rules and generally, a little bit of role play of who we are, or who I am, I should say, when I'm playing. And so this time I thought it would be interesting to role play a scholar. So we're going to be role playing someone who is coming and looking for texts about mythology. I actually have a literal written list to help guide me so I can check when we find books, because there's like 500 books in Skyrim, and we're only looking for like 80 of them. But we're going to have some rules. So first, let's introduce you to our intrepid... Yep, wrong button. And introduce you to our intrepid hero, Anselm. I named him Anselm. So sort of for those who don't know, in the world of Skyrim, Skyrim is the name of the nation. It's currently under the rule of the Empire based in Cyrodiil, so I decided, it would make sense if we're going to be like a monastic scholar. We should come from the Imperium. So the idea is that, we're Anselm, a monastic scholar coming from the Empire who's coming to Skyrim. Got mixed up in some shenanigans. A dragon was involved, but we're going to try and not fight too many dragons, because we're probably not going to be terribly strong. But so here are some of the rules. 1, not really caring about the story quest. 2, that's not really a rule. That's more just a fact. But 2, another big rule is we're not going to be pacifist, because that's extremely difficult, but we're going to be as nonviolent as possible. So if the only people that we're allowed to attack are ones who are attacking us, so do it in self-defense. Undead don't count. Animals don't count. Can I grow a beard like that? No. No, I cannot. I have all sorts of bald spots on my face where my hair grows. That is the wrong mouse. So here's really quickly the... Oh, shoot. How do I open the map? Nope. Wrong button. No. Skyrim, please. My brain. Oh my goodness. Brain, please. What? I don't remember what button it is all of a sudden to open up the, menu. Anyway, I'm actually going to be using a controller anyway, and I know what it is on that. You might be forgiven for thinking I don't actually have a couple hundred hours in Skyrim. I mean, this game came out when I was in college. So, the map. So, anything like this is like a little town. Anything with a crest like this, each city... Those are the cities. Each one has a unique crest. Those are probably... Hey, Timpikanita. You're indeed. Or Fusroda. Although we're probably not going to even Fusroda much around here. Although we do probably want to visit Hrothgar. That's the top of the... There's a monastery at the top of this mountain. I bet they have books. So let's get to Whiterun. Is this the arrow? I took an arrow to the knee game. This is, and in fact, I took an arrow to the knees. The game.
You should go to Solitude and join up with the Imperial Legion. We could really use someone like you. If the rebels have themselves a dragon, General Tullius is the only one who can stop them.
Are you still talking? I thought we were going our separate ways. But yeah, so some things we need to do are find some clothes, because I don't like the armor. We're a monk. We should be wearing our something of a habit. What are you hunting? Can I talk to you?
So what? Where are you?
Nope. She's pretty dedicated to her hunting there. We'll leave her be. She's leaving us be. Am I even going the right way? Oh, yeah. I'm just going up and above Riverwood, which leads to Whiterun. No. Okay. This is my first time ever playing Skyrim on a controller, so I'm still learning what that is. And how to do anything. Oh, look, there's the village. Back in college, the nickname for this game was Mountain Goat Simulator, because, as you can see, Skyrim is in the north and is a fairly, has a fairly rocky and mountainous terrain. But I bet you I could scale that just freeform because of the physics of this game. So you can start to just like jump up onto walls, and there'll be like little ledges where you can stand, and you just kind of work your way up those. And slowly you find your way up. We discovered Riverwood. Hello, child named Frodnar.
I heard Lucan yelling the other day about a thief breaking into a store.
Uncle, please, keep your voice down. I'm fine. We should go inside to talk.
What's going on? And who's this?
Oh, also another rule.
Saved my life
No
this time.
stealing.
Come on, I'll explain everything, but we need to go inside.
Okay, come inside. Sigrid will get you something to eat.
They're talking about plot and quest, and I just want to head over the river to make our way onto Whiterun. Because I figure any sizable encampment is probably a good place to look for books. The College of the Wizards is in the northeast, so that'll be a really good place because they have a library. Whoop! Anger doggo. Oh, look, a cairn. That's a fun word, cairn. I am going the wrong direction. I'm still... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I gotta say, Skyrim has aged surprisingly well. Like, I know it's a Bethesda game, and so it's very glitchy. This is the special edition version. So it does have improved graphics, but even still, you know. when you're caring enough to send the very best. Oh, that's a giant attacking these farmers. Tell you what. Let's quick save. Now let's help these farmers out. Or they can take care of it themselves.
Fight with us and you'll have story.
Is an iron arrow a valuable form of meat, Gale?
Well, that's taken care of. No thanks to you.
Didn't look like you needed my
Certainly
help.
not. But a true warrior would have relished the opportunity to take on a giant.
I'm a monk.
That's why I'm here with my shield brothers.
Not a warrior. Not a warrior monk.
An outsider, eh? Never heard of the companions? An order of warriors. We are brothers and sisters in honor. And we show up to solve problems if the coin is good enough.
Well, I don't intend to, but we can ask
Not for
about
me to
joining.
say. You'll have to talk to Codlac Whitemane up in Jorvaskar. The old man's got a good sense for people. He can look in your
Are these the
eyes and
werewolf
tell you
people?
what. If you go to
I remember there's like a group where you're like, warriors, yes, I will join you, noble warrior group. And then it turns out they're all werewolves, and they're like, okay, time for you to be a werewolf, and you're like, okay. It is? Okay, that's what I thought. My character wants to go home to Cyrodiil at some point, so we're not going to become a vampire, or a werewolf, although we could also become a vampire.
Steeds in all of Skyrim.
Nope. Can't get in there. My R1 button does nothing. I'm guessing that's the dragon shout button.
Halt. City's closed with the dragons about. Official business only.
The dragon came and attacked me in Helgen, so you're fine?
Fine. But we'll be keeping an eye on you.
I saw the dragon. It's not persuasion, it's the truth. It's just a roundabout form of presenting the truth. Yeah, I've never finished the main campaign of Skyrim either. And Anselm here is certainly not about to.
We'll pay whatever it takes, but we must have more swords for the Imperial soldiers.
I just can't fill an order that size on my own. Why don't you swallow that stubborn pride of yours and ask Yorland Greymane for help?
I'd sooner bend my knee to Ulfric's Stormcloak. Besides, Greymane would never make steel for the Legion.
Have it your way.
Well, we will
I'll
get
take
to
the
High
job.
Hrothgar
Don't
to visit the
expect
Singing
more.
Monks, I think.
Damn those Greymanes to oblivion. They want to back the Stormcloaks, they'll get what's coming to them.
I mean, that's a strong opinion. Well, I doubt the Drunken Huntsman has much in the way of reading material. Yeah, I'm trying to increase it, but I know that the music in this game will also just like randomly explode out of nowhere. So I just want to be careful. Let's see. The Black Arrow is not on our list, so... Books. Any books? Rising Threat. That's not on our list. Dream of Sovngarde. I think that one is, actually. Wardrobe, clothes. Yeah, unfortunately, that would involve stealing. So... Oh boy, ruined books. You know, I really should have alphabetized this list. Nope. Forge numbers. Hey, I found your business ledger. I'm just gonna doodle in it for a bit,
Do you
okay?
get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you don't.
Well, of course I don't. I've never been here before. The third era timeline. Hey, Step Zero. Good to see ya. Just add or remove more zeros. You're gonna just follow me around just because I'm not from here and I'm just going into random rooms in your establishment? Anyway, rotada.
Getting tired of it.
Today is the feast day of Isaac Jogues, Jean de Brebeuf, and companions. North American martyrs. Kind of a complicated history. They were killed by the Iroquois. And some would argue that, you know, they were part of French colonialism, and in some ways they were, but I think that's actually a greater reminder that even in the sins of humanity, God still finds ways to bring about small goods and remain active in our world despite our best efforts.
They say Helgen got hit by a dragon.
Just brown.
Let me know if you see anything you like. You look rather pale. Could be ataxia. It's quite a problem back home in Cyrodiil.
I'm from Cyrodiil. No, I am not going to the Eucharistic Congress, unfortunately. Tickets actually sold out.
Do I detect a case of the rattles?
Um,
I've got something for that.
although my boss, Father Dave, was invited as one of the speakers. Now, the terrifying thing about being they actually asked this of the speakers, how is your fear of heights? Because where it's being held at the Shrine of North American Martyrs, interestingly enough, the main altar and speaking area is on a platform like higher up, like 8 feet off the ground, and so you're kind of just on the edge. What kind of character did I roll up? Our hero is an Imperial from the city of Cyrodiil. His name is Anselm. He's a monastic scholar. And we're on a hunt for books. Herbalist Guide to Skyrim. Well, I'm not going to take it, but I am going to read it. Because that'll give us a skill point at least. The Book of Daedra. Nope. Pension of the Ancestor Moth. Wabbajack. Seriously, Wabbajack's not on the list? Little boys shouldn't summon up the forces of eternal darkness unless they have an adult supervising. No, I don't think anyone should be summoning up the forces of eternal darkness. Yeah, very few things that are multiple volumes do we care about. Kit has redeemed a father joke. Did you know that 5/4 of people admit that they're bad at fractions?
Wiggins, I can handle this token.
Got something for just about everybody in here. Give a holler if you have any questions.
Uncommon Taste by the Gourmet. By opening this volume, you have taken the first step on a truly epic journey. Written like I'm one half of the way to understand that.
Everything's for sale, my friend.
That was
Everything.
written like an actual
Find a
foodie
sister,
blog.
I'd sell her in a second.
Ooh, Beggar Prince. This is actually one of the books we're looking for. because we're looking for books that have story. So what I pulled up was there's a great video by Brian David Gilbert unraveling and looking at all the different books of Skyrim and categorizing them, and then like kind of looking at the best. One of the categories he had was mythological, which I figured was the closest thing to theological for us and for our purposes. And this happened to be on the list. Yes, that's exactly what Anselm thinks. Anyway, The Beggar Prince, the story of Weedle and his gifts from the Daedric Lord Namira. So the Daedric are kind of demons and devils. I don't entirely know how to explain it. I'm not really an expert, so this is kind of a fun learning opportunity for me too, about just learning more about the world of the Elder Scrolls. So we look down upon the beggars of the Empire. These lost souls are poor and wretched of the land. Every city has its beggars. Most are so poor they only have the clothes on their backs. They eat the scraps the rest of us throw out. We toss them a coin so that we don't have to think too long about their plight. Ooh. Still real today. Imagine my surprise when I heard the tale of the Beggar Prince. I could not imagine what a prince of beggars would be. Here's the tale I heard. It takes place in the First Age, when gods walked like men and Daedra stalking the wilderness with impunity. It is a time before they were all confined to oblivion. Okay. So that's some mythological world building for us. That's helpful. So we know that the world... so I think we're in the Third Age. Very Tolkien-esque, honestly. But a sense of the divine and otherworldly being more immediate in the earlier era. Whether that's true or a sort of metaphorical looking back, we don't know. There once was a man named Weedle, or maybe it was a woman. The story goes to great lengths to avoid declaring Weedle's gender. Weedle was the 13th child of a king in Valenwood. Hey, Mesozoic Mind, this is in fact Skyrim. As such, Weedle was in no position to take the throne or even inherit much property or wealth. Weedle had left the palace to find independent fortune and glory. After many days of endless forest roads and tiny villages, Weedle came upon 3 men surrounding a beggar. The beggar was swaddled in rags from head to toe. No portion of the vagabond's body was visible. The men were intent on slaying the beggar. With a cry of rage and indignation, Weedle charged the men with a sword drawn. Being simple townsfolk, armed with only pitchforks and scythes, they immediately fled from their armored figure with the shining sword. "Many thanks for saving me," wheezed the beggar from beneath the heap of foul rags. Weedle could barely stand the stench. What is your name, wretch?" Weedle asked. "I am Namira." Unlike the townsfolk, Weedle was well learned. That name meant nothing to them, but to Weedle, it was an opportunity. "You are Daedric Lord," Weedle exclaimed. "Why did you allow these men to harass you? You have slain them all with a whisper." "I am pleased you recognize me," Namira rasped. I am frequently reviled by the townsfolk. It pleases me to be recognized for my attribute, if not for my name." Weedle knew that Namira was the Daedric Lord of all things gross and repulsive. Diseases such as leprosy and gangrene were her domain. Where others might have seen danger, Weedle saw an opportunity. "O great Namira, let me apprentice myself to you. I ask only that you grant me powers to make my fortune and forge a name for myself that will live through the ages." "Nay, I make my way alone in the world. I have no need for an apprentice." Namira shambled off down the road. Weedle would not put off. With a bound, Weedle was at Namira's heel, pressing on the case for an apprenticeship for 33 days and nights. It's a lot. Weedle kept up the debate. Namira said nothing, but Weedle's voice was ceaseless. Finally, on the 33rd day, Weedle was too hoarse to talk. Namira looked back on the suddenly silent figure. Weedle knelt in the mud at her feet, open hands raised in supplication. "It would seem you have completed your apprenticeship to me after all. Namir declared. I shall grant your request. Weedle was overjoyed. I grant you the power of disease. You may choose to be afflicted with any disease you choose, changing them at will, so long as it has visible symptoms. However, you must always bear at least one. I grant you the power of pity. You may evoke pity in anyone that sees you. Finally, I grant you the power of disregard. You may cause others to disregard your presence. Weedle was aghast. These were not boons from which a fortune could be made. They were curses, each awful in its own right. But together they were unthinkable. How am I to make my fortune and forge a name for myself with these terrible gifts? As you begged at my feet for 33 days and 33 nights, so shall you now beg for your fortune in the cities of men. Your name will become legendary among the beggars of Tamriel. The story of Weedle, the prince of beggars, shall be handed down through the generations. It was as Namir predicted. Weedle was an irresistible beggar. None could see the wretch without desperately wanting to toss a coin at the huddled form. However, Weedle also discovered that the power of disregard gave great access to secrets of the realms. People unknowingly said things where Weedle could hear them. Weedle grew to know the comings and goings of every citizen of the city. To this day, it is said that if you want to know something, go ask the beggars. They have eyes and ears throughout the city. They know all the little secrets of the daily lives of its citizens. Ooh, interesting. So almost, but not quite a hubristic tale. Like the hubris of Weedle overcame them. I'm going to mark this off. That way, if we come across a copy again, we can be like, okay, good, we've read it. And we've learned definitely a sense of creature. What's the word I'm looking for? Sort of special beings throughout the world having roles or aspects that they watch over. And yes, a good moral about, overcoming, using your weakness as a strength. I'm not supposed to be in here. And also, no, we're not stealing the book, Step Zero. No stealing. That's one of the rules. Although we can make a mess in someone's house.
Get out.
Fine.
Guards!
I didn't do anything illegal. There are rules. We can't just start attacking random people. We can't steal things. Ideally, in the fashion of St. Paul, we'll be a tent maker. And have some sort of job by which we make our money. I'm giving you the rules. What kind of roleplay would it be if there weren't rules? And we are ultimately a monk from Cyrodiil, who is a scholar who's looking to study how the myths of the world kind of travel and get presented in different places. So we came to Skyrim to hopefully simply go to the College of Scholars.
If you need more food or drink, speak to Hulda.
Supplies are scarce.
I work for Bellathor at the general goods
Maybe I
store.
should sell swords and armor instead.
Maybe, but they wouldn't taste as good as a loaf of fresh-baked pumpernickel.
Why do you people not have any books? Ooh, book. Fall from Glory.
Sadia, dear?
Yes, Mom? Don't forget to polish those glasses later. Certainly, Mom.
Not on the list, and adventuring counts as a job. Yeah, but that would require doing the violence, or trying to not do the violence against people. Ooh. Get the Blessing of Talos, why not?
Damn those gray mains to oblivion. They want to back the storm cloaks. They'll get what's coming to them.
I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion about... So, by the way, the Skyrim is in the control of the Empire, but the people... The native folk of Skyrim aren't happy about that, and are trying to do a revolution, so... Can I help you? Looks like you're...
What's the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgruuf is not receiving visitors.
I have news
Well,
about a
that
dragon
explains
attack.
why the guards let you in. Come on then. The Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
I'm sure he will. I just want to see his bookshelves. Darkest Darkness? Oh my goodness, that is... That is like an edgy title. The Wisp Mother and Cats of Skyrim? There's no pictures. That's no fun. Ode to the Tundra Striders. I don't think the Whisper Mother is on this list. Although the Withershins are. I love the Withershins. Make great albums. Chances Folly, Holds of Skyrim, Dwemer, Brief History. Okay, so Holds and Chances Folly. Yeah, I have a complete written list of the books we're looking for. They have some fascinating names. Unalphabetized. Yeah, the convenient way. Dwemer Volume 1. Beggar Prince we've already read. Urbane's Bestiary. Oh, so some of the books give you skill points. So if you see me just randomly open one. The Great War. And another copy of Chance's Folly. Explorer's Guide to Skyrim. Hey, that gave us some map information. I don't know anyone who's ever actually completed the main quest of Skyrim, to be honest. I got to one point where it's like, oh, well, your only option is to attack this character. And it's like, well, I don't want to, so I guess I'll go do anything else. Thought the Woodcutter's wife was on there. The Pirate King of Abyssan. Of Fiori and Holger. Oh, it's a history. Y'all's book collection's kind of thin. Gonna check your personal quarters. Hello, guard. Do you mind if I am in here? No? Okay, that is good. invention of the ancestor moth. Is that just a great name we've come across before? Or is that one I remember from the list? That's just one I remember from the list. And the Madness of Pelagius. Well, that's actually kind of funny. The Anselm running into Pelagius. It's a theological joke. Because Anselm spent a lot of his time arguing against Pelagius and Pelagianism, which is the belief that you have to earn and work your way into heaven.
Last warning. Leave now.
Guards! Trespasser!
Yungol and the Sea Ghosts.
That's
I'm
close
not
enough.
trespassing. What do you mean bounty added?
Committed crimes against Skyrim and her people. What say you in your defense? Smart man.
I didn't steal anything. I guess that's an off-limits area? They haven't cared, honestly, about other off-limits areas. Anyway, also I found the woodcutter's wife is, in fact, on the list, so we have to work our way back here. Anyway. Where was it? Aha. Woodcutter's Wife. Volume 1. Didn't say anything about Volume 1 on the outside. As told by Mogan, son of Molog. Now that's important, because who the storyteller is can greatly influence how it's actually interpreted. Legend tells of a woodcutter who built a shack deep within the pine forest. There he hoped to live in peace with his family. The woodcutter's family lived well for a time, but without warning, the weather turned bitterly cold and spoiled the harvest. Before long, with their meager food supply all but gone, the family was starving. Late one snowy night, a traveler knocked on the cabin door, seeking shelter from the biting cold. Always generous of heart, the woodcutter welcomed the stranger into his home, apologizing that he had no food to offer. With a smile, the traveler cast off his cloak to reveal the garments of a mage. As the woodcutter and his family looked on, the mysterious visitor reached into his satchel and withdrew a scroll tied with a silver ribbon. No sooner had the wizard unfurled the scroll and read the words aloud when a great feast appeared from out of thin air. That night, nobody in the woodcutter's cabin went hungry. Day by day, the snow piled up. Every night, the mage produced another scroll from his bag and read the words, each time summoning a new feast. On the fifth night, the woodcutter's wife awoke her husband to confess her mistrust of their magical guest. Surely, she argued, there was some price to pay for the magical feast that everyone enjoyed night after night. The woodcutter would have none of it. After nearly dying from the lack of food, his family was eating well. The divines had sent them a gift, he explained, and it was foolish to question their wisdom. But the woodcutter's wife would not be persuaded. Every night she grew more fearful and more desperate. She was certain that the family had entered into a devil's bargain, and the time would come when the mage would ask for something unspeakable in return for his gifts. While everyone in the cabin slept, the woodcutter's wife snuck out of bed and took her husband's axe in hand. She crept into the traveler's room with one swing, lopped off his head. Get to that after the reading. Suddenly, the wizard's disembodied head awoke. His eyes opened wide, and he beheld his maimed body. That would be very uncomfortable. He let forth a terrible cry. Awakened by the horrified scream, the woodcutter and his children rushed into the room and gasped at the terrible sight of the decapitated mage. With his last gasp of breath, the traveler laid a fearful curse on the woodcutter's wife. After her mortal death, she was damned to rise once again and walk the woods alone, only to burn at the rising of the sun. To this day, those who walk the pine forest late at night tell the tales of a weeping woman glimpsed between the trees. She carries a bloody axe, the stories say, and is terrifying to behold. Ooh. Classic tale of warning, you know. And I think theologically in this world, you know, you mentioned the husband mentions the divines, that sense of, because it is a polytheistic world. But still, that sense of trusting in the divine presence sometimes is a good, you know, it is a good thing, which is something I have to do as I prepare this feast of, yeah, never be rude, especially to guests. This is why we have a emote for that. What flavor? What terrible flavor am I missing? Cotton candy. More. Those flavors do not mix. It was all smoke and butter from the popcorn one. And then it was just like, surprise! On the lemon and lime. Just kind of cutting through it. How does the magic nerd in this place not have a single book? Oh, here's his library. It's like he'd better have a minor maze, rising threat. Ooh, Legend of the Red Eagle is one of them. We are finding all sorts of books on our first go around our first city. By Traden Dren, Archivist of Winterhold. Ooh, that's where we need to head next. Is Winterhold. That's where the big library is. This tale was transcribed from the memory of Clarice Venn, student of Winterhold. Elements of the legend suggest a date of... I don't know how to read it. I think that means the first era, 1030? Though, as with any oral tradition, much of it is likely a later anachronism. Well, I wouldn't say much of it. I would say there are later editions, not necessarily anachronisms. Curiously, stories of a similar king and his legendary blade appear in other ancient myths of the Reach. Okay, that's actually a really interesting point. I want to bring that up really quickly before we go further in the book, is that some of the... there are parallels between what we find in scripture and myths of ancient Near Eastern cultures. One example is the Babylonian creation myth uses the word firmament, and it's the Babylonian equivalent of the same word in the ancient Hebrew used for firmament that's used in Genesis 1. There are stories of floods and massive boats made at the guidance of the gods for various reasons. So it's actually kind of paralleling what we have in our own world, wherein we can see kind of the way that language and certain myth can be shared or have some sort of possible historical common root that gives rise to different expressions of it, which I think is really fascinating. Yep, flood narratives, I mentioned that. Long ago, a child was born into the Sundered Hills. They named him Feolan, which means Red Eagle in the tongue of the Reach, for the screeching bird call that greeted his birth and the crimson blooms on the autumn hills. So is Feo like red and Lan is eagle, or... Anyway. Thus began his legend, Reach Child, born under auspicious skies, his very name the color of blood. 10 kings ruled the Reach in those days, and though men were free, the people were scattered and warred amongst themselves. The augurs foresaw the boy's destiny, a warrior without peer, first and foremost Lord of the Reach, chosen to unite all under his name. Oh, there you go. Good, convenient to have your life purpose laid out before you right from the get-go. Pheolin grew in years and strength, and it seemed the prophecy would be fulfilled. The banner of the Red Eagle was raised along the cliffs of the Reach, and his people prospered. Then came Hestra, Empress of the South, riding to war. One by one the kings stood before her, one by one they fell aside, bending knee in imperial bargains, or slaughtered on the battlefield. Her legions came at last to the sundered hills, and envoys were sent to bargain for their surrender. Pheolin refused to yield the freedom of his people. The elders were afraid, cast him out, and accepted the imperial yoke. Thus was stolen by the foreign invaders his land, his people, his very name. In the years that followed, Red Eagle became known as the untamed spirit of the Reach, unbowed, unbroken, stained by the blood of his foes. He gathered loyal Reachmen to himself, those who clung to the old ways, who yearned for freedom and forged a new nation. Together they fell upon the occupiers, and to the traitors by night, disappearing into the cliffs and caves each morn, evading capture. It was not enough. For every imperial patrol and garrison they wiped out, yet more seemed to march from the green south to replace them. One night under a cloud-choked sky, the men of Red Eagle warmed themselves over damp fires of smoldering moss. A huddled, shambling figure came to them, cloaked in rags, face cowled. Though his men mocked and cast stones at the stranger, Pheolin sensed something and beckoned. The cowl was thrown back in the dim light, and she revealed herself to be one of the ancient and venerable hag ravens. She offered power for a price, and a pact was made. Thus was brokered to the switch. His heart, his will, his humanity. From that day forth, his was a spirit of vengeance, pitiless and beyond remorse. The rebels grew in strength and number, and none could stand against them. Pheolin's eyes burned coldly in this day, black opals reflecting a mind not entirely its own. 2 years passed, and the foreigners were all but driven out from the Reach. Such peace could not last, however, and a great host fell upon them, a swift army of invaders unlike any before. For a fortnight, Hestra's generals laid siege to Red Eagle's stronghold, till he himself came forth for battle alone and robed in nothing but his righteous fury. 1,000 foreigners fell before his flaming sword, and the enemy was routed. Yet, when night fell, so too did he. The warriors who came to him said Pheolin's eyes were clear again on that final night. He was taken to the place prepared for him, a tomb hidden deep within the rock. With his remaining strength, he presented his sword to his people and swore an oath. Fight on, and when at last the Reach is free, his blade should be returned, that he might rise and lead them again. Thus he was given for his people, his life, his dream, his sword. When every debt is repaid in blood, these he shall reclaim once more. That's kind of an interesting take on the sacrificial messianic figure and eventual rebirth. Yeah, King Under the Mountain, but the way it's phrased is that like he's lost his humanity and he doesn't get to enjoy those until the debt is repaid, which I find kind of an interesting one. So I think that's the interesting twist. Oh, hey, and there's a quest. A minor maze. Nope. Gods and worship. I don't think it's on here, but look, it's written by Brother Hedgefeld. An overview of gods and worship in Tamriel. Editor's note. Brother Hedgefeld is an associate scribe at the Imperial University Office of Inductory Studies. They like their shrouded images. Yep. Well, mythology's often like that. Gods are commonly judged upon the evidence of their interest in worldly matters. A central belief in the active participation of deities in mundane matters can be challenged by the reference to apparent apathy and indifference on the part of gods during times of plague or famine. From intervention in legendary quests to manifestations in common daily life, no pattern of the gods of Tamriel activities is readily perceived. The concern of gods in many ways may seem unrelated, or at best unconcerned with the daily trials of the mortal realm. The exceptions do exist, however. This is a lot of reading, I apologize. Many historical records and legends point to the direct intervention of one or more gods at times of great need. Many heroic tales recount blessings of the divinity bestowed upon heroic figures who worked or quested for the good of a deity or the deity's temple. Some of the more powerful artifacts in the known world were originally bestowed upon their owners through such reward. It has also been reported that the priests of high ranking in their temples may, on occasion, call upon their deity for blessing or help in times of need. The exact nature of such contact and the blessing bestowed is given too much speculation, as the temples hold such associations secret and holy. This direct contract gives weight to the belief that the gods are aware of the mortal realm. In many circumstances, however, these gods will do nothing in the face of suffering and death, seeming to feel no need to interfere. It is thus possible to conclude that we, as mortals, may not be capable of understanding more than a small fraction of the reasoning and logic of such beings. One defining characteristic of all gods and goddesses is their interest in worship and deeds. Deeds are in the form of holy quests are just one of the many things that bring the attention of a deity. Deeds are everyday life by conforming to the statutes and obligations of an individual temple and community supposed to please the deity. Performance of a ceremony at a temple may also bring a deity's attention. Ceremonies vary according to the individual deity. The results are not always apparent, but sacrifice and offerings are usually required to have any hope for gaining a deity's attention. So that's really interesting. That actually shows us sort of a really key portion of the concept of what is worship, which is one thing that creation myths really can help you sort of point out, like, what is the purpose of humanity and worship vis-a-vis the divine. Again, great example is that of the myth of Babylon, that humanity was created by the blood of a fallen god, and that humanity exists to provide sacrifice, blood, and food so that the gods don't destroy humanity. And kind of here, the sense of the reason you do the things is because of, well, these are the rules, these are the things, the hoops you need to get through to get this god's attention. I would say a Christian attitude is really sort of the other way around, where it's like, because of God's love first for us, we do what we do. While direct intervention in daily temple life has been recorded, the exact nature of the presence of a god in daily mundane life is a subject of controversy. A traditional saying of the Wood Elves is that one man's miracle is another man's accident. Ooh, I like that line. While some gods are believed to take an active part of daily life, others are well known for their lack of interest in temporal affairs. It has been theorized that gods do not, in fact, gain strength from such things as worship through praise, sacrifice, and deed. It may be theorized that the number of worshippers a given deity has may reflect on his overall position among the other gods. Okay, well, that's interesting. The positioning of gods reflects downward rather than numbers up. This is my own conjecture, garnered from the apparent ability of larger temples to attain blessings and assistance from their gods with greater ease than smaller religious institutes. There are reports of the existence of spirits in our world that have the same capacity to use the actions and deeds of mortals to strengthen themselves. excuse me. As do the gods. The understanding of exact nature of such creatures would allow us to understand with more clarity the connection between deity and deity's worshippers. The implication of the existence of such spirits leads to the speculation that these spirits may even be capable of raising themselves to the level of god or goddess, which means we have a semi-permeable membrane between various levels of existence. Motusuo of the Imperial Seminary has suggested that these spirits may be the remains of gods and goddesses who through time lost all or most of their following, reverting to their earliest, most basic form. Practitioners of the old ways say that there are no gods, just greater and lesser spirits. Perhaps it is possible for all three theories to be true. In the system you have presented, yes, that is feasible. And yeah, I agree with you, Kit. It's all about how we present it. Okay, so we found 3 books and an unexpected, not mythology book, but a good book nonetheless, about the deific systems of Tamriel. That's kind of like the whole world, not just individual nations. I think. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the Imperial Nation, but either way. Life of Uriel Septim the Seventh. No thanks. If I want to know that, I'd go read, or I'd go play Oblivion again. I feel like the Firmament should be one, having just talked about mixed unit tactics. Galerion the Mystic. I don't see Galerion the Mystic on my list, but I do see Olaf and the Dragon. Olaf and the Dragon by Adonato Liotoli. One of the more colorful legends of Nord folklore is the tale of Olaf One-Eye and Numinex. Man, I took some Numinex, but its side effects were pretty bad. Long ago, in the first stage... Again, the first stage. It's interesting that most of the myths we've come across, admittedly we haven't come across a lot yet, but that they're all in the first stage. Long ago in the first stage, a handsome dragon named Numinex ravaged the... Why is... Oh, fearsome. I was like, why are you saying he's handsome? That's an oddly specific thing. The dreadful drake wiped out entire villages, burned cities, and killed countless Nords. It seemed that no power in Tamriel could stop the monster. This was a terrible time in Skyrim's history. For a bitter war of succession raged between the holds. The Jarls might have been able to conquest... That's a really weird... No, that's a typo. This book has a typo. It has an R at the end of conquest instead of a T. Because the literal next letter is a T, and you can see the difference. And I don't think conquessor is a word. If they had worked together, but trust was desperately short supply. A skillful warrior named Olaf came forward and promised to defeat the beast. In some accounts, he is the Jarl of Whiterun. In other versions of the legend, Olaf promises the people of Whiterun that he will capture the monster if they name him Jarl. At any rate, Olaf ventures forth with a handful of his most trusted warriors and seeks the beast out, eventually finding Numinex in his lair atop Mount Athor. Needless to say, it's an epic battle. First, Olaf comes at the dragon with his axe and his shield. Some variants of the legend say that Olaf and the beast battled with blade and claw for days, but were too evenly matched for either to gain an advantage. They fought along the entirety of the endless staircase. Most accounts hold that Olaf, perhaps frustrated that his weapons are completely ineffectual against the dragon, finally casts them aside. Giving voice to the rage that has been building within him, Olaf unleashes a terrible shout. Here again, these stories diverge. Many accounts hold that Olaf did not realize he possessed the power of dragon speech, while others suggest that he had long possessed this gift but wished to test himself against the dragon in martial combat. Virtually all variations of the legend, however, agree on what happened next. Using the awesome powers of the dragon language, Numinex and Olaf engaged in an epic shouting duel atop Mount Athor. Mount Athos? So forceful are their words, they said to shatter the stone and split the sky. Finally, Numenex collapsed from a combination of injury and sheer exhaustion. Somehow, and this detail is conspicuously absent in virtually every account, Olaf manages to convey the dragon all the way back to the capital city. The people of Whiterun are suitably impressed with Olaf's hostage. They build a huge stone holding cell at the rear of the palace, which they rename Dragon's Reach. This enormous cell serves as Numenex's prison until his death. Olaf himself eventually becomes the High King of Skyrim, putting an end to the War of Succession. Presumably, his great deed made him the only leader upon whom all the people could agree, and so the land has peace. As a visitor to Skyrim, I find this tale both fascinating and highly entertaining. It is one of the most celebrated legends of the Nords, and one can easily understand why. It's a story of surpassing heroism, in which resourceful and worthy Nord does battle with a truly terrifying adversary and emerges victorious by yelling him into submission. Ooh, that's a mood. The only way in which this could have been even more a Nordic tale would be if Olaf beat Numenex in a drinking contest. I love this commentary. It means I don't have to do it. The legend is not without its doubters, however. The bard Svaknir, who lived during Olaf's reign, wrote and performed an alliterative verse that challenged Olaf's version of events. Enraged, the High King threw the rebellious bard in prison and destroyed all written copies of the verse. How I would love to lay my hands on a copy of that verse. I admit I am immensely curious to know what Svaknir made about Olaf really defeated Numenex. There are a few ancient bard texts that provide one possible answer. These tomes suggest that Numenex was particularly foul-tempered because he was extremely old. In these accounts, the dragon spends his final years terrorizing the countryside before lying off to the top of Mount Athor to die in peace. When Olaf finds Numenex, the dragon is too weak to defend himself, and Olaf and his men capture the beast without effort, but decide to take advantage of the situation by fabricating a heroic tale. It is worth noting that all of Olaf's warriors who were said to witness the shout duel went on to become wealthy leaders during Olaf's reign as High King. However, it is equally likely that Svaknir had some grudge against Olaf, and his scandalous verse was an attempt to damage the High King's reputation. Alas, we will never know. I leave you now, good reader, with this gentle reminder: a good historian must remain impartial and consider all points of view. Time has a way of distorting our record of events. Ain't that the truth? So the closer you can get to the original sources, the better. Yes, yes, Svaknir. It's the only way I can say it. Or say it properly. Okay. I feel like that is a good exploration of the Jarl's keep here in Whiterun. So I say we try to make our way up a mountain. Because this really tall mountain, its nickname is Throat of the World, because the singing monks on the top, and well, this wants us to go over here to join the Imperial Legion. No thanks. How many books are on the list? That many. I legitimately don't know how many that is. I think it's about 40 or 35 to 40 or so. We're not going to find them all, but it gives us a helpful guide. You're right, that is not a number. It, in fact, was profoundly unhelpful as an unnumber. I don't want to be in the Cloud District. How do I find my way down? Jump. Gravity will take care of the next. Unfortunately, so will falling damage. So one of my priest brothers, he loves Bethesda games because they're so moddable. And a hobby of his is seeing... I would say so. I would say it's permissible, given certain circumstances, to break unjust law. I mean, to quote Thomas Aquinas, any unjust law is not a real law. But anyway, my priest brother, he loves modding things like Skyrim and Fallout, and just seeing how many different mods he can install before it just crashes. Like, that's his hobby. He doesn't even play the games anymore. He's just like, can I get this to be stable if I add this one more mod to the 400 I already have? I did? Okay. Time for another one.
Important deliveries to make. No time for chatting.
Yes, unless you mod a mod to mod the number of mods, which people do. People have a lot of fun. Wow! Bad puppy. I need your pelt. Gonna turn it into leather later. Because maybe that'll be our... Because, you know, we sometimes refer to Paul as a tent maker, because that's how it gets translated into English in Acts of the Apostles. He's like, yes, you know, I was traveling with some fellow tent makers. Although the coppersmith Alexander did him a great disservice. And we don't know what... But Paul is very explicit in his letter. It's like, that Alexander. But accurately, it shouldn't really be tent maker as like, that's the only thing he does. It's really more, tents are his primary product, but anything leather worker is, or we're working with leather. Yeah, Alexander didn't make the tent toggles that he wanted. Yeah, that was the first reading earlier this week. Is that Monday? I don't remember. Yeah, Alexander should just get a better supplier and not go with Ea Nasir. Ea Nasir is mentioned in a Sumerian tablet, one of the oldest full written forms that we have. And it is... Oh, that's a bandit. Don't want to go that way. It's someone complaining about the quality of the copper that Ea Nasir sold them. Oh yes, there's also that. He mistreated... Nasir mistreated a slave. And probably had bad shipping practices. Okay. I'm surprised I didn't take fall damage from that. It seems to be a passage around the mountain, but I really want to go up the mountain. Maybe there's a path. Oh, this isn't even the mountain. I need to turn around. This is the mountain. Can you believe it? There is, in fact, a path on the mountain. It would just help if we were on the mountain. There's a huge moon. No wonder there's werewolves. Yeah, it is a very pretty game. And it's aged well. I mean, this came out when I was in college. Like, it was my freshman year, I think. Okay, so maybe the path is on the other side. Because I feel like if we're going to roleplay a scholar's not going to, like, just look up and be like, okay, there's the mountain. Okay, I'm going to start jumping up there. No, we're going to look for the path. When we can. I liked there was a guy a couple years ago, he roleplayed a member of the Guard, and like he would stream it, and he was doing this for really, yeah, Skyrim is a verb now. But he had a ton of hours playing, and at one point he actually ascended here and went up to High Hrothgar to, you know, see what because in roleplay he was like, well, everyone's talking about the Dragonborn being back. Well, maybe it could be me. And he goes up and he talks to the monks, and they're like, it's not you. And he's like, okay, well, thank you for your time. And in an interview in character, he's like, yeah, it was a really good experience to go up there and wonder, what if I am, even if I'm not? Okay, we're gonna let you two fight.
No sign of him.
Hello, Telskar.
Hello there, fellow traveler. One itinerant minstrel. The best tales are those of adventure. Who could truly write such a tale without first experiencing such?
I mean... I feel like our character just got called out there. Well, I think they just clicked through the quest, and he doesn't actively use it. But yeah, I just thought that was really cool. I'm a big fan of emergent gameplay, and I'm almost back to Helgen where I started. That was the area you didn't see on camera. And it's still on fire. So that way to Riften. It's not quite where we're going, but... Still on fire. Must be in Canada. Wow. That's a dark joke there, Kit. I was hoping that would split both ways on the path there. Maybe this person on a horse will be helpful. Probably not, but you never know.
I've been hunting and fishing. It's not like my poaching is hurting anyone.
Nope, it's Haymar's shame. I don't want to know why a cave is called someone's shame. It might, in fact, be time to do some mountain goating. Wish I could play his music on stream, but it's copyrighted. Currently in the thoughts of Brother Anselm, why am I doing this? Why did I agree to come here? This is terrible. They'll never believe what I had to do when I get back to Cyrodiil. And that's how you mountain goat in Skyrim. Of course, I was hoping to actually find it, because there are these etched tablets. Kain called on Arthunax, who pitied man. Together they taught men to use the voice. Then dragon war raged. Dragons used against tongue. Well, we're gonna try and avoid just Skyrimming up, but it is Mountain Goat Simulator. We'll do some for sure. Especially to get to High Hrothgar. Wait. Nope, nope, nope. I remember this area. There is a snow troll, basically a yeti up here. They have magic regeneration abilities and are strong. And we are level 1. In fact, I'm going to put the helmet back on just for some extra armor. There it is. How does it know where I am? I'm all the way up here. I think Anselm is saying oh gadzooks or zoinks right now. Okay, I don't know where the troll got to, so I'm going to try and make a run for it. Yes, dingoes fetid kidneys, indeed. Okay, but where does the actual path lead? So we came through... We would have come through this way, I guess. Ah, I need to go farther down. With roaring tongues, the Sky Children conquer, founding the first empire with sword and voice, while the dragons withdrew from this world. So long as the numbers on the tablets keep going up, we're doing good. Jurgen Windcaller chose silence and returned. The 17 disputants should not shout him down. Jurgen the Calm built his home on the throat of the world. Okay, so someone established a... I think the monoliths are just our guiding path. Ah, yes, because this is where we're coming to. But I like the idea of, like, you know, it's a very classic one. The warrior becoming the monk, laying down arms. For years, all silent the Greybeards spoke one name, Tiber Septim, stripling them. Then was summoned to Hrothgar, a bless and named him Dovahkiin. Dovahkiin means dragonborn. Which, if we ever actually get around to doing the main plot, this character is, but... Oh yeah, and there's a chest here for offerings for the monks. Hello? I'd like to come in. The voice is worship, follow the inner path, speak only in true need. Yeah, just like St. Ignatius of Loyola. I think we have to do the main quest to actually do this. So we'll start that next time. Let's just look at the clock. We only have about half an hour left. So if we come up here to Winterhold, that's where the let's set a marker at Winterhold. Fast travel back down the mountain, but now we can fast travel up the mountain when it comes time to do the quest. Wish I could afford a horse. In the first Elder Scrolls game I played was whatever 3 is called, Morrowind, and in that just jumping builds up your athletic skill because things are much more granular. Catch butterfly wing 2 added.
I mostly deal with petty thievery and drunken brawls. Been too long.
Unnagbrew meadery. You're an academic. You'll never be able to afford a horse. No horse, no house. My character's a millennial. That's true. You could build up your athletics that way, but then you'd level up, and everything else around you would level up. But things are just very granular in that game, and I don't think that's necessarily better or worse, just different. But like...
You there, citizen. This area is off limits. You're interfering with Imperial business. Yeah, so you'll have to pay us a fine. Say, 100 gold. Pay up, citizen.
I don't have any gold to spare.
Fine. If you can't pay with coin, you'll pay with your life.
No. I didn't want this. We could have discussed something. I'm from the Imperial City. I still would have reported you in the end for what you have done. And now there's wolves? I think it's a little late to level our sneaking, and these aren't bandits. These are soldiers who in their occupation have clearly committed what is basically a war crime.
That's close enough. That's close enough.
Okay, I'm not going to attack you unless you attack me first. Okay, it looks like this soldier has forgotten about us. Nope, he's looking right at us. I know you're warning me to back off. Don't worry, I'm not coming near you or your stone. I think it stops being banditry and moves into war crimes when you're the occupying force. I might actually have to just fight him. Shocker, my character's not good at fighting. Oh, and if anyone ever says I yield, we will let them. I don't think we survived that one. It's just a thought. Just a little feeling. Okay, so now we know to avoid the immediate road around there. I do want to go this way again to at least discover the meadery. But yeah, sometimes the NPCs will be like, no, I yield. If they say that, we'll back off. Yeah, I don't think that was 'tis but a scratch on my end.
Trouble?
Let's visit the meadery. Not sure I agree with that quote, Step Zero.
I'm the owner and proprietor of Hunting Brew uses. Take a look.
Oh, he only wants my
All right then.
salt piles. Well, my situation with those guards was I just didn't want to get involved with any of it, and they made me get involved. No, no, no. Not you two. What is this note? You're a little stunts. Try my patience. I know my uncle has issues, but he is our watchman and you will respect him. No more sneaking in and out. No more games with his ledger or nails on his chair. One more joke and you'll see how funny a day in the cage can be. No, I don't think he's finding out at all. Okay, it seems that things have spawned in differently, because this is where the Imperials were, was by this tree, and they're not there, but we have some wizards over there instead, so I guess that's just like random events that you can run into. I honestly never thought about that, because most of the time if I'm playing this game, you know, it's just like, haha, I smash everything. So if there were soldiers who were like, oh, pay us or we'll fight you. Radial quests. I guess I do remember that term a little bit, but... yes, I would agree that pacifism is about conviction and not performing violence. I think the other view is a little too militant and undermines really the role that especially someone like a martyr can have. You know, I can think of the great example that, for me personally, is the White Rose Society. Yeah, I guess it really does make the world feel... I probably made jokes about the whole radial quests at the time, being like, procedurally generated quest, but honestly, it's like, yeah, no, it works. No, 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 you don't know. Oh, there's a lot of bandits up there. Ooh, ale. Yeah, when they start repeating that is a little weird, but, you know. It's Skyrim. No. Give me... Did that just increase my iron arrow by 1? Trot, 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 trot. Hello, little rabbit. No, I'm not going to fry the rabbit. I don't have survival mode turned on. I don't need to worry about eating. I figured trying to play a semi-pacifist, mostly just looking for books, is hard enough.
Come along, no more stops. We need to find our way to Solitude.
Why are we even going to a wedding at this far-flung end of the Empire anyway?
I told you, it's the wedding of Vittoria
Need
Vici,
something?
an extremely well-connected merchant with the East Empire Company. Don't bother me, peasant. I've had a long journey and paid too much coin on these gifts to be late to Vittoria's wedding.
Well, enjoy your wedding.
Indeed. Hopefully these gifts will put us in her good graces, secure that import deal, and lead the way to an audience with the Empire.
Marriages being used politically. Shocker. I'm no there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Windhelm, Riften. Where am I headed to? I guess I'm headed towards Windhelm. You know, it's weird. I have played this game a decent amount, and yet I feel like I've never really traveled the roads. I was hoping I could get close enough to discover that. But I feel like I'm discovering things along the road of this, like little interactions and things that I never did in my personal playthroughs.
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Windhelm.
I do not care about your political factions. I'm here to learn. No, I'm not joining the Stormcloak Rebellion. That's a group of wolves. I legit thought that was like a group of... I don't think that was a realistic way to kill a wolf, but also, why is it carrying a garnet? Oh. Yeah, is your TV not logged into streaming services, Gale? Well, it is through your PS5, I guess. Unless you don't have internet set up at the house yet. But now I just want some enchiladas. Terrestrial channels. Well. Yeah, we need to go back this way, but I want to discover Windhelm first, since that'll at least give us a fast travel point. But I want to try and make it to the college so we can find more books for next time. But Gail, I need to watch my soap operas on my fridge while I'm looking in it to double check for my groceries.
You come here where you're not wanted. You eat our food, you pollute our city with your stink, and you refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
But we haven't taken a side because it's not our fight.
Hey, maybe the reason these Greyskins don't help in the war is
I think you two are doing a
Imperial
racism, and that's not okay.
Imperial spies? You can't be serious.
Maybe we'll pay you a visit tonight, little spy. We got ways of finding out what you really are.
Do you hate the Dark Elves? Are you here to bully us and tell us to leave?
No.
You've come to the wrong city then. Windhelm's a haven of prejudice and
I
narrow
just want to
thinking.
check in, make sure you're doing
Unworthy
okay
of
after
one such as you.
a racist attack.
Nothing new there. Most of the Nords living in Windhelm don't care much for us, but Rolf is the worst by far. He likes to get drunk and walk around the Grey Quarter yelling insults at us in the small hours of the morning. Oh, a real charmer, that one.
Oh, he sounds fantastic.
Safe travels.
Well, I hope you're okay. Step Zero has redeemed a father joke. I've heard that there's a kind of music that balloons really hate. Pop music. Blew your mind. No! Bad doggies. I remember I was once playing and I walked out to a river and there was just this square of the water texturing missing. Like all the fish were in there, they were swimming, and everything else was perfectly normal. Like I could swim in it, but it was just, there was an empty square. On Gizmil. Yeah, it evaporated and nothing else filled in. Crab! It's... If you've got time to gab, you've got time for crab. Mud crabs are a classic enemy. And we leveled up. I feel like we could use more... Probably health. Now, what skill point do we actually take? Speech seems to make the most sense. Becomes skilled in the ways of elocution. Rhetoric. Something wants to come and attack me. This is the wrong direction anyway. Alchemy would also be a good one. But if we're better at speaking things, maybe we can get... We can buy our books for cheaper. And that's the real goal of an academic, is just get all the books you can. Y'all can't see it because my personal book collection is mostly in my parish office. I have a problem. Gonna make a terrible, terrible father joke here. Why, Vern, you bringing this up, Step Zero? It needs more work. It needs it. But I had to get the rough draft out there. Why are we attacking the fauna? Because it attacked us first. Oh, sorry. On my screen, both your names are green. And so it just... My brain just reads... If I'm not going careful... Or if I'm not reading clearly, like... My brain just goes, ah, green. That is Step Zero or Gale. Although it's funny, if I look on my other screen... Where just Twitch is pulled up, I see Sub-Zero is purple and Gale is like rust orange. Bad danger puppies. On the main screen, you are in fact the rust color, but on the secondary monitor, you are purple. I don't know why OBS changes it. Well, this road's seen better days. Nightgate Inn. Ooh, snowberries. I don't know if there's a thing actually called a snowberry, but I'd eat it. Unless it was really an elderberry. I know you love elderberries, Gale. That's why I said that. I said that specifically for you. Wait. Oh, we have taken a wrong turn. Because we're trying to get up to there. What terrible misfortune this has wrought. There are snowberries. Mildly toxic to humans? That's not fair. I saw the bait and went, this is bait specifically meant for Gale. Gale's bait. Yep. Oh, look at that pretty river in the night. Father Evan, when you took the bait, oh yeah, it's all coming together. Right. Cusco's poison, the poison for Cusco. You're probably unfriendly, but I'm gonna try to just walk past you anyway. Okay, you're just a random orc. Never mind. In fact, let's see if snowberries... Let's eat one. Resist fire. Oh, well, that's... I was going off of her clothing because she's dressed like how the bandits in this game are clothed. But snowberries help us resist fire. Not cold, fire. Wait. I did it again. I missed my turn. I need ashberries for cold. What kind of berry do I want right now? I mean, I'm always a fan of strawberries. Oh, I had this non-alcoholic beer last night that was so good. I have 5 more because 6-packs. But it's a raspberry goza. So it's sour, tart, sweet, kind of raspberry jamish. But it has... The underlying beer is like... is almost like a coffee stout. So like you have this like sour, sweet taste, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, coffee, which is actually non-alcoholic. Doesn't count. You know what? I would disagree, but it means you can have as many as you want, and you don't, and you'll still remember the night. But it meant that you had like the sour and the sweet with a really nice finish of the coffee. So the sort of the bitterness, earthiness. It's called gross soda. I can drink. I can't drink for medical reasons, so you know, I'll take it. But it had this really nice coffee finish, which kind of cleansed your palate, so that the next sip you could have the crisp, sour and sweetness all at once. It worked really well. Stop it! I can do magic too. Yeah, I know my health is low. I'm trying to fix that. But a skeleton in my back is not helping. Apparently, no, I do not stand a chance. Rough. I think that's actually the perfect place and time to call it, too.
All right, hand over your valuables.
What?
I'll gut you like a fish.
I just
Don't
spawned
you walk
in.
away from me. You never should have come here.
I didn't come anywhere. I just appeared here. Hold on, I need these mountain flowers. No, 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 that's okay. No, 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 I don't want any of what you're selling today. No, thank you. Torturer's Hood. That's terrifying. Now where am I? Where did this actually respawn me? Oh, it's all the way back here? Well, we know where we're headed. But we'll call it there for the day. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. Hope everyone has a great weekend ahead of them. Maybe some nice relaxing, maybe a fun activity. I don't know. I got a wedding I'm presiding at, so that should be nice. But on Monday we'll be back to Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. So more of that fun as we go back in time again for the third time, fourth time. I don't know. That game's weird and I love it. On Tuesday we'll be back to Siberia. Might be able to finish it, might not. We'll see. But we'll get close. That's for darn sure. And then on Thursday we'll be back with more Skyrim. Looking for more of these books. Headed towards the College of Winterhold. Next Thursday, the stream's going to be 2 hours early, so noon to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So just a little change for the one day. So again, I hope everyone has a great rest of their weekend. And again, thank you to everyone who followed and liked and gave bits, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Take care and God bless.